Greetings to all the audience and to my lecturer, Pak Takim, and also my classmates. My name is Gabriella, and this is the part of my final project for Education, Administration, and Development course in my master program. So today I would like to present the school business model based on the business model canvas and a book entitled Effective School Management. Before I discuss about some chapters in the book, I would like to introduce to you some a visual template or canvas in the business that can be implemented in all kind of business. But because this is education administration, I would like to focus on the school as the main context of this business canvas. So there are 9 elements of this business canvas, starting from the customers, the value proposition, channels, customer relationships, revenue, key resources, key activities, and key partners. And the last one is the cost. So along the way of this presentation, I will also explain a little bit of this element while I am connecting these elements with the chapters that I choose from the book provided by my lecturer. So the book that is given by my lecturer is entitled Effective School Management. So it was written by Everard, Gregory Morris, and also Wilson. So in this book, there are 3 main parts, including managing people, managing the organization, and managing change. So in every part, I have to choose one chapter that can be implemented in my business model canvas. So in the first part, I choose motivating people. The second part, I choose managing resources, and the last one, antecedents of successful change. Okay, sorry. So the first chapter of this presentation is motivating people. So I believe in the business model canvas, we have several stakeholders. We have the clients or the customers. We also have the key partners that can collaborate with us to achieve our goal as an organization. Okay, so motivating people plays a key role in getting the best out of people. So when I can motivate the key partners, they can help me as a school or as the manager to achieve or to reach out to the clients to give the best service to the clients. So in motivating people, managers should consider the needs of groups which are led, individuals, every individuals of the group, and the clients such as students and parents, because the context of this business model canvas is the education field. So I will take the school as the example. So here personally believe that um, teachers and staff inside the school are the parts of key partners. So even though some may argue that teachers and staff are human resource, but I believe we work together to achieve the goal, to achieve the shared goal with the school. That's why teachers and staff should be the key partners of the school. And according to Armstrong Handbook of Human Resource Management Practice in 2020, so this book was written by Armstrong and Taylor. They admit that there is a debate whether it is appropriate to see humans as resources or as asset or as people to collaborate with an organization to achieve the goal. So they also quote Osterby and Koster in 1992. So Osterby and Koster do not believe that humans should be considered as resources. They have to be considered as humans as the way they are. That's why some people change human resource management or development into people management so that they can see people who work with them as human, not as um, materials, not as the asset of the company. Okay. So when we are trying to motivate people, okay, when we are trying to motivate people, we have to understand the base of everyone's satisfaction. That's why here in this chapter, we are introduced to two hierarchy. The first one is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So there are several stages of needs of a human being, starting from the very basic one or psychological, and the highest one is self-realization. And according to Herzberg, there are two groups of factors that can influence people in their workplace. The first one is the hygiene factors. So this is the source of dissatisfaction, and the motivators, the source of the satisfaction. So hygiene factors should be addressed first before the motivators can play the important role of making people stay in an organization. So hygiene factors such as salary, relationship, work condition, supervision, and company policy are the very basic needs that a company should fulfill first. Because without addressing this problem, then motivators cannot be beneficial. Motivators or the source of satisfaction like achievement, work content, responsibility, recognition, or advancement cannot come into play because the basic needs are not met yet. Okay, so before we give the responsibility recognition, we have to first handle the hygiene factors. However, still, even though the source of dissatisfaction can be handled, sometimes it cannot make people stay because even though, for example, the salary relationship between colleagues are okay, salary is high, but if their achievements are not recognized, or maybe the freedom to create something, some innovations in the workplace are not facilitated, then there's also possibility that people cannot stay in the organization. That's why we have to see the three basic rules that a manager should follow or to consider. The first one, as manager, we should remember to use the motivators. Okay, so the sources of the satisfaction, including recognition, um, advancement, responsibility to help our key partners, which are our teachers and staff. We also have to involve others in decisions which affect them. I think this is one way of meeting all or most of the needs. Okay. And we have to be aware that the relative intensity of psychological needs will vary greatly from person to person and from time to time. Just like what I mentioned before, that every person can have different basis of needs. Okay, for example, an employee who just lost someone, okay, for example, spouse, parents who passed away, who just passed away, they may need social support more than the salary or the raise, the pay raise. Or another example, a senior employee needs more recognition rather than relationship or salary because they have been working in the organization or company for the longest time. Of course, they need some recognition of their achievement. So again, every person in our organization can have very different motivation, intention, interest. That's why as managers or as leaders, we have to address those needs so that we can motivate them to stay, to be committed, and to give the best service to the customers. By doing this, we can also improve our value proposition and also we can reach out more to our customers Okay, we can improve our relationship with the customers, and the customers will stay as well. So once again, it's like killing two birds with one stone. Okay, and the last one, the last rule is we should try to suit our management behavior to both the personalities and the needs of the situation. So we have to be flexible. Our automatic behavioral reaction may not be the right one. Think about the alternatives. Always think of the alternatives. The next chapter is managing resources. So before we talk about how we can manage and build our relationship with our people, now we talk about how we can manage our resources, our uh, asset that we have. Okay, so here I have several numbers, just like in the previous chapters. I also have numbers. So in this chapter, when we can wisely manage our resources, it can bring the benefits to number six, the key resources itself. Okay, we know how to manage it well. Number seven, the key activities. With the good key resources, it can support our activities. Number five, the revenue. Number nine, the cost. And at the end, it will influence number three, channels or the strategies to reach out to our customers. And then number one, the customers themselves. So the content of the education that we offer should not be determined by the resources available to us rather than by the needs of our clients. Okay, so we have to be need driven and not resource driven. Okay. So we have to really focus on how to manage our resources to fulfill our clients' needs, not to see our resources and then shoot our service that we can give to our clients. No, it's not the other way around. But we have to see the needs of our clients so that we can prepare our resource or manage our resources so that it can fulfill the client's needs. Okay, so one part of this chapter that caught my attention is about women and educational management. Once again, I have to emphasize, just like the other teachers and staff, women should be the key partners. They should be considered as our collaborators. So their competence, yes, their competence, their intelligence can be the part of the human resources development that should improve our organization. But they, as human, are the key partners of the school. So women and educational management. I believe that nowadays, based on my experiences, I see a lot of women getting actively involved in the management roles. So I think all of people, all people needs the opportunities to be in the part of management. Okay, even though there are a lot of maybe perspective, negative perspective of women, maybe people tend to choose men to become the leaders, but we have to admit that sometimes women have the competence in doing the management roles. That's why we have to give more recognition and also opportunities not only for women but for other groups, for all groups in the organization, including the young people, maybe fresh graduates or people uh, with a few years of experiences, they can also have the potential. Okay, so the point here is not only emphasizing on women, but also to all groups of the organization. So they might have the power, the competence, they may have the innovations, new way of thinking to improve the organization. And the next part is investing money. So resources include human, their capability, competence, what they have when they join the organization, material and financial. So effective manager of resources will analyze cost and also benefits. Okay. So they can manage all things efficiently by seeing what they can get when they have to spend certain amount of money, and how they can also plan for the future. So money becomes a very major or very important resources in an organization. And as a manager, once again, they have to be able to know how to invest the money well in the resources. Okay, so to get the best value, because when we have good resources, then it can improve the activities as well. That's why we have to be very wise. We have to consider the challenge. Do we need to do this or buy this at all? What are we trying to achieve? For example, we have the learning management system already at school, and there is another salesman who offer us another type of learning management system. So maybe as in terms of the display, it seems better than our previous learning management system. But we have to really ask ourselves as manager, do we need to do this? Is it really urgent? Will I get more benefits from this? If the benefits is only the display, then I don't think it will give the benefits at all, because at the end the system are similar, only the display, only the interface. So we are not looking for the interface, but we are looking for the function. And then next, we have to compare the prices and also different approaches. Okay, because once again, as manager, we are entrusted with the money of the organization. Of course, we have to be very critical when it comes to managing the money. We have to see the prices. We have to see other companies or partners that can help us. And the third one, consult. So we have to consult with those who would be affected by the decision to buy new um, new materials, new resources. For example, the school is going to buy some computers, or new textbooks, for example. We have to consult with our teachers, maybe our IT departments as well, to see or to ask their advice, to ask their opinion whether these new resources will be beneficial for the school or not. And the last one, compete. As managers, we have to obtain or provide the best possible service at the best possible price, because at the end we still um, we still interact with the customers, and the customers will always think about what they get when they pay for the school. Okay, so we have to really give the best for the customers as the part of our responsibility to them. So it is very important to always do budgeting and financial control. So budgeting should follow the plan. What do we wish to achieve? Our objective. What our priorities? Always set the priorities before do the budgeting. What do we need to do in order to reach our objectives? And how to increase revenue? Besides doing the budgeting, we also have to take care of the revenue. We can do fundraising. Okay. Selling off unwanted equipment, for example, old computers. Maybe new computers are already considered to be very beneficial, so we can just sell the unwanted equipment. Hiring the school premises, for example, buildings, the parts of the building of the school. The real example happens in my own school. So my own school own 13-story building, and in certain floor they rent those parts of the building to the other organizations or companies. So I think this is a good example of how school can also hire out the premises to increase the revenue. Okay, and this is the last chapter of this presentation. So this last chapter will obviously influence the value propositions, the customers, and the key partners. So the antecedents of successful change. Managerial strategy should be applied to strive in building approach to first purpose, the explicit goals, and having a clear sense of directions, the structure, uh, the form follows the functions. Okay. So always be efficient and effective. So we only focus on the function, how we can function well. The process, communicating openly, working collaboratively. So if we can communicate well and also work together with all the teachers, the staff, the key partners, we are ready for a successful change. We also have to be interdependent. So we should not sabotage each other, but we have to really contribute to each other, to all of the departments inside the school, so that we can have a positive change that can improve our organization. And then realism. So we have to avoid any drama in the organization. We have to deal with things as they are. So we don't exaggerate or underestimate things, but we see the problems and we try to find the solutions. So that's the way how we can guide our organization, our teachers and staff into the successful change. And the last one, environment. Open system embedded in complex environment. So we know that we are not standing alone. We are not alone. Yeah, we are not alone. We are not. Uh, we are still inside a society, a wide society. So we, as managers, we have to be able to see what happens around us, what happens um, between the schools, what happens in the Ministry of Education. So we really have to understand the environment, not only our organization. So, because at the end of the day, environment will also influence our organization or school. So, we have to be very aware of it. So, previously, we talked about the characteristics that starts the successful change. Next is the characteristic of a person or of a manager that can welcome the change. So according to Valerie Stewart in 1983, so she was a British psychologist and business consultant. People who are good at managing change have the following characteristics. First, they know clearly what they want to achieve and they know what kind of action should be taken to achieve what they want. Okay, so it's not only the visions but also how to achieve the visions. And then they can see the changes not only from their own perspective, but they also take care of others people perspective, especially those who work together with them. So in this example, we have teachers and staff. They are the key partners. So of course, as managers, we have to think of their perspective. So we are not going to focus on our own ego. And then next, they plan flexibly, yet they value experiences. So they are not hindered by any tradition, but they still value the experiences. That's why sometimes they consult with other people so that they know their perspective, why their perspective, what kind of interests are at stake. And then next, they are able to see opportunities within challenges. Okay? They present change a rational decision as they involve their staff in the management. Okay? So any change, any decision should be rational, and they have to be able to explain them clearly, guide their staff clearly, because at the end, their staff interest, mm, their staff, what do you call it? Their staff uh, needs, okay, will be at stake. That's why they have to really explain and guide clearly to the staff. Okay. And then they can also explain and change. They can also explain the change and its possible outcomes. What will happen at the end? What possibly happen after the change is implemented? Okay, so that because people who are good at managing change are also taking care of teachers and staff. People who are good at managing change care about teachers and staff or other people who are working with them. That's why they um, they take the rational decision. That's why they ensure uh, that they really understand what they want. Okay. Because at the end of the day, his or her decision will influence all the people under his or her care. So I think this is the very beautiful part of this presentation when a manager doesn't always think of his or her own interest or perspective, but they also think of others. And the last one, people who are good at managing change wait for assimilation instead of topping up one change with another change. So there is no outcomes yet, but they suddenly try to find another change. But they wait patiently for assimilation to see the outcomes before trying to finding out what should be changed. Okay, so this is the end of my presentation related to school business model. I know there might be some parts of the business model canvas who are not covered well in the chapters that I chose, but at least it can cover most of the elements from managing people, managing the resources, and how to handle the change. Okay, so this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your time.